Welcome back to Navigating Life in Spirit. Hola, my name is Hilary Malefa, a life enthusiast and a sister in spirit. I will be sharing my takeouts from everyday life by covering an array of topics, my views on them, and how I've handled them. I am by no means an expert or a professional on the topics. This is solely a personal journey that I will be sharing with you. I have decided to take on a new approach to this podcast, or should I say this audio journal, because let's face it, nothing about this gives podcast. It's more of a personal journal entry that I have decided to make public. The fact that you're listening means you're on this journey with me. Let's continue this walk. It always amazes me when we make all these elaborate plans and the universe sits there, letting you get carried away with yourself, then bam, change. This October was all about adjusting and adapting, something I have grown to accept in this season of my life, because what choice do I have? It came with many lessons, as every day does and should. Some lessons were more palatable than others, but welcomed nonetheless. I had the intention of making October the best month as I celebrate my yearly Earth span. With this usually comes a retreat away from everyone and everything. Unbeknownst to me, I always silently make a hoo-ha about it, as I do annually. Something about this year, though, felt different to the years before. I carried out my plan on going away to spend time to reflect and really immerse myself in being. I always remind myself how crucial it is to be cognizant of the things I expose myself to. The month before, I had gone on a social media fast, so leading to October, I was pretty much clear of any influencing energies. Naturally, on the first though, I went wild. Little did I know what rabbit hole I would find myself in. There I was, exposed to the tragedies that were happening around the world, which triggered a bountiful of anxiety. We often, more times than we'd like to, fixate on things that we have zero control over more than things we can change or mold. I found myself in a dark space right before what is usually a time of light. I approached the time I look forward to the most, the shadow that needed to be left behind. I was distracted by everything else that was taking place around me than being present at the fact that I hadn't completely released it. It was when I was settled that I had realized that the shadows that I was carrying manifested, which opened space for other unpleasant emotions to sit at the table. I don't mind entertaining these emotions, as they have every right to a seat, but this was a time that I set to intentionally reset, to be anew. Remember, this is supposed to be the happiest time of my life, where I make my dreams come true, where I shower myself with all the love that I could possibly give myself. I've been looking forward to this month for practically an entire year after all. The precedence was set quite high. Fast forward to the trip. It's the day of departure, road tripping to the destination. I have my music set, podcast ready, it's just me and the road. I arrived to what is a serene place, just my kind of spot. Something about the energy wasn't as what it is usually. I passed it off as a first day feeling, and that when the day of celebration came, that I would be in a better state. Woke up to a feeling of openness which excited me. As you'd have it, emotions change on a regular, which is something that I got accustomed to. For some reason though, I was feeling a little more vulnerable. I desired to be celebrated. I had a longing to be loved. I happened to go on Facebook, which lent itself as a comfort of sorts, when I came across a post that I had shared years before. The post was an ode I had written to my mother. Whilst reading it, the words spoken had more life than I last remembered. I felt every emotion that I had gone through that led me to writing that poem. Just to give context, my mother transitioned on the 7th of October 2001, which is the same day as I celebrate my annual Earth span. It's as though I was reliving that very moment. I wasn't so much saddened as I was reassured. As you'd have it, tears gushed out of my eyes. It was a beautiful release, the most unexpected experience. It had been so long since I responded to the thought of my mother in that way. After what was a divine moment, I followed it with me reconnecting with myself, reminding myself why it is that I plan time away in this way. It was a reminder to myself what time alone truly means to me and why it is vital for me to be. This was my way of showing love to myself. This was my time to be whichever way I wanted to be, at my own pace. This was the time where my heart's desires roamed free. It was at that moment I appreciated myself for allowing me to be with me unfiltered. It was a reminder that in this big world, that one thing was for sure, and that is the love and honor I uphold for myself. I remember sitting on the floor of that farm unit and really immersing myself in being, in remembering who I was and what I bring to this world. That yes, people can show love, but unless told and or have capacity, they wouldn't be able to do so in the level in which I needed. I gave myself all the grace. Whilst on that vulnerable point, I've been having a lot of visits from my inner child in these past couple of weeks. We've had some intense and fun times where giving space was the order of the day, where I had to enhearten her as she showed up in the light that she did. It's a continuous task this, and I'll forever be willing to stop at my tracks to allow her the attention that she needs. There's a misconception that healing your inner child is just childlike behavior or getting what you've always wanted as a child. But it is also healing wounded parts of you, showing up for yourself, being your own hero, reassurance, listening, showing love. I am blessed to go through this expedition of restoration, acclimatizing myself better, growing in love with myself the way I was meant to. One of the ways in which I need to show up for myself is being able to ask for help and accepting it. It's something that I grapple with. The universe has made sure that it would introduce someone to me in the form of a friend who would challenge me in facing this very struggle. Talk about a slap in the face. As 2-in-1 special. Some time ago, I met someone whom I was surprised to acquaint myself with. I was resistant for the longest time. I now see why. It takes a lot for me to open up to someone, especially when there's promise of it being long-term. By that I mean someone who would be constant, as friendships tend to be. At the initial stage, I was excited at the prospect of a new girlfriend, not reviewing what that would mean for the days to follow. Oblivious to what was going to be required of me, nevertheless, I decided I was going to embrace this chapter. What I know of the universe source is that you will be gifted with helpers, teachers, healers, companions in every season you undergo. I believe that in this season, this friend was a new addition to ease me in facing some aspects of me that needs physical connection. What I'm learning is that we have been put together to be each other's companions respectively in our own personal journeys. I'm grateful, even though at times I resist more than I should, but it is through that resistance that I learn to let go of the control and just be. October has been nothing short of amazing, not at all in the way I anticipated, showing such beautiful colors and tones of me, exposing the kaleidoscope that I am. Here are some of the learnings that she has gifted me with that I will put into practice. I am doing well at reparenting my inner child, that in turn, this will aid me in becoming a more wholesome adult. Asking for help doesn't mean I am a burden or that I am inferior, especially when the universe has ensured that I am presented with helpers that will bring ease into things I struggle with. That I should continue to give myself grace and hold space for myself as and when I show up, whether healed or wounded. Friendships are beneficial to one's life. Yes, I'm a loner, but like many say, no man is an island. Affirmations. I feel healthier when I invest in myself. I love that through it all I remain authentic. I speak positivity to myself always. I see the growth within me that will be beneficial to those around me. I understand that asking for help doesn't mean that I am a burden. I honor myself and the being that I am. In closing, go shine that light that's within you. You never know who needs it. Embrace your position in this universe. Show up for yourself. Rise to the divinity within you and put in that work. You are needed. You are wanted. And most importantly, you are loved. This is your sister in spirit, wishing you Khanya.